Thank you, everyone, for coming to the See the Good podcast. And really excited about the show today. And I've actually had a few messages from people who are excited about it as well. So today we have with us Danielle Crull, and and of course, some of you may know her as Truffle's mom. Do you get that a lot? Do
Yes,
people
even at
refer to you
my dentist.
even at your dentist? That's funny.
Yeah, they literally have my name and underneath Truffles' mom.
That's funny. I see the tail now and then coming up a
Yeah,
little bit.
here, let me show you so you can see that she is here with us. Truffy.
Awesome. Awesome. And I know that
Perfect.
World Sight Day is upon us very soon, and I know
Yeah,
Prevent Blindness is handing out some Truffles stickers, and I think there's also, is there a Dilly Dally frame named Truffles?
there is. Yes.
Is it the same one Truffles wears, or just similar, or
Well, they didn't make it in truffle size, unfortunately. But
okay.
But she will put it on, and I love it when kids are wearing those glasses. Like sometimes parents will send me pictures of their kids, and I'll immediately recognize it as Truffles' glasses, and I'll be like, "Oh, look on the inside, see if it says Truffles on there." And of course, they find it, and they're super excited about it. So yeah, it's pretty cool to connect in that way.
Yeah, yeah. So Um, how did it begin? Did you refract truffles one day and you were like, oh my gosh, how
No,
did it
not
all begin?
like that. I don't know what harebrained idea came in my head, but I was like, I wonder if Truffles will wear glasses for me. She wants treats right now. She's yeah.
Oh, she
Here,
hears her
Truffles,
name.
give me a five. Good girl.
Oh,
Yeah, she's like, you're talking about me. I should get a treat. Anyways, she was a kitten. She was probably about 6 months old, and I kind of started to train her a little bit before that. She was very treat motivated. She loves her treats, and I taught her to, sit, which was the big one, give me high five, got her to jump up and that sort of thing. And she was so good at it, and I would have her come out and give me like a high five with patience. And I was like, I wonder if she'd wear glasses for me, just that like just crazy thought of an idea. And so I thought, well, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to treat her like all of my patients. I'm going to make sure I get something that fits well, something that's comfortable. And I'm going to, show her how to wear them and make sure that she gets a treat for it and just kind of go from there. And she did. She started to like put them on, and then I think she really fed into the reactions of people that she got. I think just
oh,
like kids do, when they get glasses for the first time and people are like, oh, they look so nice on you and all that kind of stuff. Like, I think she really was like, oh, this thing that I did made people happy. So I really like doing it, and I'm getting a treat on top of that.
right.
So we just kind of started to do it, and then it just grew from there. I made videos and put it online, and then I taught her how to take them off, and she shows kids how to put them in the case when they're not wearing them. And then it just like I was like, gee, I wonder if she'll wear an eye patch for me, you know? And then it just like, just kept going and going and going, and it's to where she is at today. And she really just does such a great job. And it just warms my heart to know that she's so meaningful to a lot of people and families around the world.
Yeah, and so tell me a little about the name of your practice is A Child's Eyes, is that correct?
Yes, it
And
is.
so tell me a little bit about that and some of your specialty and maybe how Truffles plays into that specialty, but really like to hear some stories about, particular situations, whatever you can divulge about moments to you that have been meaningful.
Sure, sure. So I opened my business at Child's Eyes in 2002. I really felt directed by God to do it. It's
Yeah.
a crazy thing. It wasn't anything. You can actually read like my 10-year anniversary thing on my website where I really kind of talk about all the struggles that we went through trying to open the business and just being obedient and how God just kind of blessed us in that really. But yeah, people were like, that's never going to work. You know, there aren't enough kids who wear glasses, you know what I mean, to
Right.
just why don't you get a doctor? Which I don't have a doctor. My practice is we just specialize in fitting kids with glasses. That's what I want to focus on. The exam is a whole different experience. And I feel like we've kind of really lost the whole, um, getting glasses, that this is really an experience. It's not just a purchase, it's like the exam is the experience and then the glasses is a purchase, no, I think getting the glasses is really a beautiful experience that needs to be celebrated. And, here she comes. That needs to be celebrated and, cherished and make a memory with, So, in 2002, I opened my own business. I maybe saw one or two kids a week, back then. And really my goal was just to create a place where families could come and they could share this experience about their child wears glasses and kind of share those experiences, and kids would see other kids wearing glasses, and that would just create just this beautiful place for them to celebrate their vision together. So in 2002, I opened just my own business myself, and my kids kind of grew up in the business. Now they now work with me in my business. They're all certified opticians as
Oh,
well.
awesome.
And what we do is we just fit kids with glasses. We create a beautiful place and celebrate their vision, whether they're nearsighted, farsighted, astigmatism, have crossed eyes, or, exotropia, or whatever it is that they're going through, amblyopia, patching. We are just privileged to be in that part of their life at that time, and so we just try to make the best of it. So that's what a child's eyes does. Truffles just fits right into that because she helps kids feel confident wearing their glasses. I always feel like kids, by the time they're done seeing the eye doctor, they're like, you put drops in my eyes. You made it
Yeah.
hard for me to see. They stung. You're like, you know what I mean? Some are held down even, like it can be a very traumatic experience for them. And then so by the time they get to me, sometimes they're a little bit like cautious or afraid. And Truffles, just being a cat, like she doesn't have any ulterior motives, you know what I mean? She's like, well, if I put the glasses on and it didn't bother me, then you could put them on and it won't bother you. And kids always feel, I love the way they usually point at Truffles and they'll say something like, she's just like me. She's and even when we got our newest cat, Pfeffernuss, so we have three cats. We have Truffles, the original cat Truffles, and then the Gumdrop, who's an
Gumdrop, I've been following. Yes.
orangey cat. He's full on orange, loves to hide in places and just do crazy athletic things, climbs to all the highest places you can go, and very playful. Like he plays fetch, he can throw things, and he'll wear glasses, and he'll even wear an eye patch for me. And he's pretty good about it. Chuffles really embodies the glasses. Gumdrop's like, oh, okay, I'm going to put them on and I'm going to get a treat and we're going to play and this is all going to be fun, but then I'm going to take them off and I'm going to go away. And Truffles, she's been sitting here with her glasses on for hours. She has not taken them off yet.
Yeah.
But Pfeffernuss has esotropia, so he's got crossed eyes. And he also has nystagmus too. And when we first got him, we were thinking about getting him. We weren't sure if we were going to get him, but he was a rescue cat, and he had these cute little crossed eyes. And so many of our patients have crossed eyes. And the first day he was at the office as a little kitten with his little crossed eyes, the little boy looked up at him and he looked at him and he's like, "He's got crossed eyes like me." We're like, "Yep, I think we're gonna keep him." um, because kids felt so connected to them at that point in time, and they all have such great personalities. They fit really nicely at the office. So I'm not sure if I really answered your question there, but
Yeah, it is such a vulnerable time.
yes.
I was a high myope, still am. But I think I was like, I don't know, maybe third grade when I first got glasses, and it wasn't a great experience. I remember they just brought out this tray and there wasn't many in it, and I didn't like any of them, and I felt awkward, and only like one or two other kids in my class had glasses, and so as a result, I just didn't wear them. I mean,
Yeah.
I pushed it off till almost junior high. I was almost -3 before I I was just faking it. Like I was not gonna let anybody know how bad it was, and I just couldn't bring myself to wear them. And I mean, it can be traumatic for a kid. We just, we don't really, think that much about it. And fortunately, it's a little more fad driven today. I think, it can help. There's a lot more variety and it's a little bit funner than it was, but it's still really intimidating, I think, sometimes to, try to wear your first pair and own it and it be part of you.
Yeah, yeah. And it's, it's really different for different ages. I was like you, a little bit older. And I couldn't, was like a -1 when I first got my glasses. And, I didn't really wear them. And the same thing, I was a little awkward about wearing them. They only came in brown, pink, or blue. Those were my choices. I couldn't have pink because I couldn't have pink because I was too dark hair and dark eyes. And my mom's
Oh
like,
yeah.
brown glasses, so brown glasses, so here I am with these brown glasses. Couldn't get the blue because blue is for boys, like the whole, like, I didn't really have a choice. This is what I had
Yeah.
to have. Didn't wear my glasses. Next year, I'm -2. Friends are like, I waved to you down the hallway. I was like, yeah, well.
Yeah.
The blobs are no longer recognizable. I didn't know it was you. So it does make me so happy to see kids really empowered to wear their glasses now and feel confident. And I mean, from the 2-year-old who puts their glasses on for the first time, and you just kind of like completely rock their world because it's just so different from anything they've ever experienced their entire life. And it was far beyond anything they would have even fathomed, you know what I mean? And their faces and how they light up and, how their life literally just changes from that moment and what they're able to do. And I love that too, the like 12, 13-year-old where, I'm sitting down and having that same conversation that we're having right here, okay, like, why do we wear our glasses? What are our glasses doing for us, and really being able to appreciate the magic of vision, if you will, or that ability to see and what that can do for you, and to appreciate that, to not be like, oh, I don't want to wear it because of how it looks, but I want to wear it because it does something that's great for me, and helping them to recognize that and work within those parameters, I think is really exciting and fun. So I enjoy all the ages.
Yeah.
They're so fun.
Yeah, it is kids um they adapt really well most of the time and they really are a great customer. I mean, they're
Yeah.
they're not the biggest ticket customer that comes through every practice, but the satisfaction level and the opportunity to help them and then those ones that maybe need a little more encouragement. I've seen them sometimes in the corner of the dispensary kind of hiding, like trying glasses on and hoping that nobody sees them with them on. And I see that insecurity and that struggle, and it pulls at my heart. Like when I would see that in the dispensary, my thought was not, I need to fit this person with glasses. My thought was, I need to try to help a confidence issue. And how do I do that? Like, how do I, you know, make them know they look great and make them know that this is a part of the new them and and I really I don't know that I always accomplished it, but I really tried, and I know that even adults sometimes are struggling with a purchase because they're not confident in their look, and
Yeah.
telling them they look great. And I think sometimes you know um I would say us guys are worse at doing that. We're not wired to we have to remind ourselves, be kind today, like it's just not in our wiring to no matter how much we want to, it's just like, okay, we have to say something here. Open your mouth. It might be awkward, it might be hard, but you have
Yeah.
a moment here to impact somebody,
Sure.
especially when it's a kid. So yeah, are there any particular, um, you know, instances that stand out in the history of your practice where you were like, oh, this really was a moment for me?
There really are many. I mean, my heart really is with my special needs patients.
Yeah.
I would call them really special givers. They're not, needs means like you're always, giving to them, but they give so much to you when they come in, and I think like. When I see a little kid who comes in and, they're in a wheelchair and they're nonverbal and they can't move from like the neck down, but they can still manage to smile and they can still
Yeah.
manage to laugh and they still manage to communicate in ways and in levels that we can't. Like you just you just mentioned like that, like that soul heart to heart connection. Like sometimes we really struggle with that, and our special needs patients, man, they that's how they communicate, on that level so strongly. And they definitely touch my heart in so many ways. And of course, I've lost many of them. Many of them have passed away,
Yeah.
and that's rough.
Yeah, that is hard. Yeah.
When you go into pediatrics, you think of the fun things, but you don't think about the funerals you'll attend, and you don't think about those things. But in the midst of all that, that opportunity to be able to help them in a certain way is so beautiful and amazing. And I remember one time, you know, you think about respect, and I think that's one thing that a lot of these patients teach me. This young man came in, and I remember his dad carrying him in, over his shoulder, and he was by no means a little kid. So he's like 12 years old, a big kid at 12, but he doesn't walk, and he doesn't move from the waist down, and he picked him up on his shoulders, and he carried him in and he plops him down in the seat and he's like, "You're gonna try these glasses on. You're gonna put these glasses on." And I could tell like the parents were like, "This is gonna be hard. I know it's gonna be hard. I know like it's gonna be a struggle." And there's so many things that this poor child is forced to do, right? So many doctor's visits, so many things that he goes through. And he was like, no, and he was no, and he was just like not wanting to do anything. And I just walked up to him and they're like, "You're gonna put these glasses on." He's like, "No." And I just looked up to him and I looked him right in the eyes and I was like, "Hi." I was like, "Is it okay if I put these glasses on you? May I please put these on you?" And he was like, "Okay." And like, and it was just about respect. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
like, and how much does that speak to us? Because we so much take for granted, when we speak to one another, that we kind of like forget our manners. We're so driven, we're so focused on the task and everything that needs to be done. Um, but to look somebody in the eye and say, "May I please do this?" How much respect. And that was all he really wanted. He was old enough to know he wasn't getting it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But really unable to communicate that completely, and just how he responded to that. That is something that I, just kind of like the first time, and he was the first person, first little kiddo I did that with, like just very conscientiously used my manners for every part of the fitting process. And I do that to this day with all of my patients that I see that just maybe have a struggle communicating on a verbal level. I know if I use my manners, that they understand that that's my way of telling them that I respect them and I'm going to treat them kindly
Yeah.
and be good to them. So that's something that actually that patient taught me, you know.
Yeah.
And it was just sort of one of those things where like they were being sort of like, "You're going to do this." And I thought, well, I'm not going to make him do this. I'm going to ask him. I'm going to ask his permission. And that's just like my little secret. I tell all my opticians that too.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
just say, "May I please?" And it's just it's amazing what wonders, that does. And I have kids who will, they have to look in like to the left or to the right as they communicate to their mom or dad about, yes to the left and no to the right, and all that different things. And I feel like those experiences to me are they're just golden. They really
Yeah.
are. I think I wrote about this one on on Facebook, this little girl who was in her little, she was in her medical stroller, and underneath, little Pfeffernuss had jumped in underneath. And she was so excited. And as she would kick that stroller, like she would kick her feet back and forth, she was so nonverbal, but very excited. And she would just, shake her hands and kick her feet. As she was doing that, little Pfeffernuss underneath is just falling asleep, like her excitement. And then it was rocking him back and forth, and it was just putting him to sleep. And here I am just watching this whole thing. And I'm like, how beautiful is that? How we can really soothe each other in a different way. Because every time she would kick, she would feel his fur on her, like her foot,
Oh,
because she was barefoot. So she would feel his fur, and that would make her kick all the more. And the more she kicked, the more he rocked, the more he rocked, the more he went to sleep. And I mean, she just came in for glasses, but look at all this stuff that we can learn and grow from, and how beautiful the experience is. And I think I think learning that from working with kids is probably one of the biggest things too,
yeah,
that every moment is full of something wonderful that you can take from it. So you just do your
yeah,
best. Yeah.
yeah. I remember in a really dark part of my life. I have a special needs friend that I've known my whole life. She's the same age as me. And I visited a church where she was. And I was at a point in my life where just going somewhere was like all I could do. And I was just walking back to my car after church, and she sprinted across the parking lot, grabbed a hold of me, and just held on to me. And it was what I needed at that moment more than anything. I couldn't even tell somebody what I needed at that moment. I couldn't verbalize what I needed at that moment, but what she gave me was what I needed at that moment. And that has stuck with me so much. But I like what you said about special givers, because the things that they can give to us is pretty incredible and pretty valuable. And um, it's so easy to get out of perspective. The bills come, you're dealing with insurances, there's so many different things, and it's so easy to get out of perspective and focused on, you know, I I know what it's like to be the one person practice owner, and everything falls to you, like
Yeah.
from paper towels to, it's everything, and that perspective is pretty incredible. And I appreciate you being willing to share those stories with us, because I think they'll be impactful for a lot of people. And I was super grateful to have you be willing to take some time out of your schedule, because I see your Facebook. There's so much, you go in so many directions all the time. There's so much you have going on, and
Thanks.
you
Oh,
guys just had a remodel not too long ago, and
we did. Yeah.
yeah.
I'm super excited. Yeah. Yeah. So our whole inside of the store kind of looks like it's called Seymour Street, Seemoore.
Oh,
Um,
awesome.
so, the whole concept is again about, creating that experience and a celebration of vision. So when kids come into the place, they literally are in a street that's built around vision. And they look like little shops, like a little sweet shop for the little kids, and a little pet store in the market area, and like all these different places. We have a soft sensory room for some of our special needs kiddos. So that's our library in the town. And so it's all, but inside the whole place, there's surprises everywhere for kids to see and to find. Because the best thing for me to do, and it was like more about making the space work for me instead of me having to work in a space. So there are just little things everywhere around the office. So if I put a pair of glasses on a little one, I can just be like, "What's up on the ceiling?" And they'll look up, and there's donuts on the ceiling or sprinkles on the ceiling. There's
Awesome.
airplanes in the sky, and I've got things situated even outside the window for our like myopes and little textures and sparkles around the office for the hyperopes and stuff like that. So everything's kind of built in a way to just captivate that moment when they first put their glasses on and give them something to look at.
Yeah.
Which is really nice. I used to have to grab like 100 different things and be like keep shoving them in the kids' faces. What's
Right.
this? What's this? Look at
Yeah. Yeah.
that. Because you see those kiddos where they put their glasses on and like on Facebook and stuff like that, and they're amazing. And I would say that 1 out of 10 times it works like that. 1 out of 10 times you put the glasses on the kiddo and they don't touch them for 30 seconds and they're like, wow. But most of the time, they got three of their hands up there. They sprout an extra one from behind their
Yeah.
back. And
Yeah.
you're like, so you're like all of a sudden like, okay, I've got to find and distract all hands at all times and just keep putting stuff on there to get them going. But now I can just be like, oh, look at this, and I can pick them up and I can put them here and there.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's really nice to be able to do that.
Yeah. Well, that sounds amazing. We might have to do a round two with a tour at some point to see all of this. But
Fun. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Well, again, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. And thank you, Truffles down there.
Yeah, I see she fell asleep with her glasses on. Now you're
Uh,
up. Now you're up. Your little head was down. Can you say bye? Yeah. Okay.
awesome, awesome. Well, thank you so much. We really
Oh, thank
appreciate it. You're
you.
probably going to get 100 job applications for people who just want to come and do what you do. So,
It is one. It's kind of like the Disneyland of optics, I think.
fantastic.